Velocity. The velocity modes offer different options to control the dynamic. The knob at the left side of the drop-down menu lets you switch between the velocity modes. The MIDI CC to perform the velocity crossfade can be set in the CC field. By default, that's CC 11. Select from different velocity modes from the drop-down menu or by turning the knob. Velocity key. The instruments in Chris Hein Horns2 have 6 velocity layers for the sustains. The solo instruments have up to 20 velocity layers. When set to velocity key, these layers are available through the velocity of your MIDI keyboard. Velocity crossfade. When this is selected, the velocity is controlled via MIDI control change. Setting the controller to 0 plays the lowest velocity layer. Moving the controller up fades between the velocity layers. The new velocity crossfade samples are probably the most important feature in Chris Hein Horns2. We spent 6 months of research to find a way to phase synchronize the samples. In the new version of Chris Hein Horns, these samples blend perfectly without any phasing artifacts. Velocity key and crossfade. This is a combination of velocity key and velocity crossfade. Velocity is controlled via keyboard velocity, but you can also use expression, CC11, to crossfade between the velocity layers. Velocity key and crossfade works in an intelligent way. Let's say you play a note at velocity 100, and then you increase expression starting from 0. No change is audible until the controller reaches value 100. From here, expression takes control of the velocity and lets you change the dynamic even after the note is pressed. Velocity auto crossfade. This performs an automatic volume curve, which can be a big help, especially for realistic trumpet sections in a live performance. When velocity auto crossfade is selected, the automatic volume curve starts at the highest velocity, performing a decrescendo followed by a crescendo. Velocity key and auto crossfade. This is a combination of velocity key and velocity auto crossfade. Velocity is controlled via keyboard velocity, but the auto fade is performed depending on the selected settings. It performs the same volume curve as velocity auto crossfade, but the starting point is the velocity of the played note. The speed of the auto crossfade curve can be adjusted with the decay and length knobs. You can adjust the speed in musical beats. The absolute length depends on your host tempo or the tempo selected in the Kontakt master section on top of the Kontakt interface. The following controls are available to adjust the auto crossfade: vibrato intensity, curve retrigger, amount of decrescendo, decay time, overall length. Amount sets the destination velocity for the decrescendo, decay. If amount is set to 100, the decay goes down to velocity 0. Amount set to 0 creates no volume curve. Decay sets the time from the highest velocity or the played velocity in velocity key and auto fade to the velocity selected in the amount setting. Length sets the overall time of the volume curve. When the decay time is over, the sound starts to swell. The highest velocity is reached when the selected length time is over. That's why the decay cannot be longer than the length, and the length cannot be shorter than the decay time. Retrigger sets the time for polyphonic playing. All notes within the selected time range are affected by the auto fade settings.